Are we getting any closer to coming to a resolution and making sure that all the Indigenous communities, First Nations governments, all of the various jurisdictions are on the same page here, and we can make the most of that resource because we're sitting on something we need?
Yeah, I believe we're in very good shape. First of all, I've been to the Ring of Fire 5 times in my provincial career. I would say because we've got the two main First Nations groups are actually doing the environmental work right now themselves. They're the ones who are doing the environmental assessments. Once those are done, we can get started on the road. And so I'm very, very confident you'll see big moves. We put $1 billion aside from the province. We'd like to see the feds match that. We haven't heard anything at all positive about that, but we're ready with $1 billion committed, and we've got the environmental assessments underway right now. So we're very excited.
So what's timeline on that for you then?
I think that's going to be up to the Minister of Northern Development to talk about here at PDAC show. I don't want to steal any thunder from him.
And the frustration from a lot of people will come because we can easily understand why it's a good thing and it's a necessary thing. But what seems to be the sandpaper in the conversation is, and whether it's your government or any other government, we're not paying enough attention to the needs of the First Nations, of the Indigenous communities that live there, and have some stake in the conversation. Certainly, the resource itself. And in this day and age of truth and reconciliation, there seems to be that real focus on that part of the conversation, and there are still communities that feel left out of it.
So I think that was certainly under the previous government, that would have been an accurate characterization. Under this government, we have them as our partners. They are our partners that we're funding the environmental assessment right now. We've got the two major ones, one coming from the north to the south basically, and one coming from the south to the north. I'm paraphrasing, but we have great partners in them, like absolutely super partners. We're going to be taking them off diesel, which is a game changer for them in their future. We'll have broadband there by 2025. These are game changers for the First Nations.
And the broadband, for example, that infrastructure is, we take for granted in this part of the world, right here on Front Street. Where is that in terms of those,
We have promised, our government has promised that every resident in Ontario will have broadband by 2025, and I expect us to absolutely meet that. I live in the north. I'm a northerner, and I purposely, this is a true confession here, I purposely schedule Teams meetings or phone calls when I'm driving to Mattawa, because I know exactly the point when I'm going to lose the call, and I'll call the people back 15, 20 minutes later and say, well, sorry, that's a dead zone. We have those all through Northern Ontario. I make my point that way.
No, I hear you. Or I don't, as the case may be.
Yeah, for those 15 minutes, you don't hear me.
Yeah. We do a lot of work with the forestry sector, and that whole approach to what they're doing in the context of climate crisis and so on. And we've learned a lot doing a show with those folks. But the whole point around it, and you make it, you're working remotely in remote regions. You have to be in that place to work. And what we found, particular in the forestry sector, is capacity to fill some of the jobs is hard because, quite frankly, I don't want to be freezing my ass off in the bush in the middle of nowhere to start my career. So there are a whole new set of skills that go along with the new forestry, the new mining, the new approach to resources and so on. How much of that is part of what you do in terms of business development for the province and being able to say, it's great we've got this new innovation, it's great we've got these jobs, but I don't have anybody to fill them?
So I take it as if, don't take this the wrong way when I say that's an area that is of great concern, but that's not my immediate concern. My job is to be the top salesman. And I'm out there selling, and it's like a guy coming back with the order book. Okay, now you fill the order.
Right.
So when we landed the largest deal in Ontario's history, the Volkswagen deal, was $7 billion. We landed that a year ago, March. We had 14 ministries involved. So that we did as an all multi-ministry deal. I was the front end with Premier Ford on making the sale, but we couldn't do it if we didn't have Infrastructure Ontario to get the land ready, Ministry of Transport to get the roads in place, Ministry of Colleges and Universities for those 70,000 STEM grads we produce every year. Minister of Education for the daycare facility that we need. Minister of Solicitor General, for instance, because putting out any kind of a fire from an EV is very different. We needed new fire suppression equipment. We needed bigger police force. So this is a multi-ministry. So you can see where I'm going.
Yeah.
Ministry of Labor was front and center. Minister of Energy, making sure we had the energy. Minister of Mines, to make sure we have the critical minerals. Minister of Labor was the front and center one. We need 3,000 people to work in that Volkswagen plant. Now, I've done my sales job. Now,
Open the door.
Please supply
Come on in.
Please supply the trained people.
Yeah.